Small business reputational risk. What it is, why you must monitor it, and how to minimize it. Keep in mind your company's reputation may be its most valuable assets, and as such, you want to craft a system that constantly monitors and improves your brand image. Watch this video to learn how to protect your business against unwanted publicity by evaluating potential threats, resolving problems quickly, monitoring customer attitudes, and developing an effective social media policy. Unlike the deep-pocketed multinationals, small companies may not survive a negative news event, especially in a social media era that so easily fosters the spread of damaging information. Therefore, as a business owner, you certainly want to assess potential reputational risks to your company before they even occur. Find out more. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. How are you doing today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as terrific as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. Today, I want to talk to you about small business reputational risk, what it is, why you must monitor it, and how to minimize it. Let's first define reputational risk. What is reputational risk? This is an important concept we need to familiarize ourselves with. Reputational risk is the possibility that bad publicity could harm a business's public image and impair its revenue generating ability. So you have two things here. So the company might suffer detrimental publicity, and number two, it might see its revenue go down. So a company's reputation is subjective and based on public perception. Again, especially in an era of social media, if you have a bad video, around your company going viral, and that video is detrimental to you, is adverse to your interest, this could cause significant damage, financially speaking. An opinion of a business may or may not be accurate, but in either case, it can drive the behavior of consumers, employees, investors, and regulators. While a negative opinion may deter people from interacting with a company, a good reputation helps a small business obtain new customers, secure financing, and attract qualified employees. And I would even go further. If you are able to hire talented employees, secure financing, and obtain new customers, you're able to get the cash needed to increase market share, to diversify your product portfolio, and actually sign partnerships with vendors and other stakeholders. So great reputation fosters connections with the community, vendors, suppliers, consultants, and others. A great reputation takes a long time to cultivate and considerable effort to maintain, and then it can be quickly destroyed. It's like everything else in life. When you have a great reputation as a person, it takes years to build, but seconds to destroy. So we live in an environment where this is more of a global economy, but even at the local level, you have many businesses that are connected to their customers, suppliers, and other stakeholders at the local level. And this could be even via the internet or via the local chamber of commerce or a local processes or local mechanisms. And this leaves them vulnerable, because if you have a problem, if you have an adverse message around your brain and you are so intertwined with the local fabric, economically speaking, you can see your brain being destroyed very quickly. So the reputation of a small business can be easily attacked with a few taps on a computer keyboard. So that's the risk we're talking about here, folks. The next thing I want to talk about is damaging events. So when you talk about reputational risk, you constantly have to think about one thing. What are those events? What are those adverse events that can create a problem for a company, whether reputationally, financially, in terms of regulatory compliance, and all that kind of stuff? Let's talk about the media scandals that can harm a company's reputation. You have data breaches. Again, we live in the era of the internet, where companies are more vulnerable now than ever. Any data breach can damage a company's reputation, but an incident involving sensitive data, such as social security numbers or birth dates of potential customers, may cause more harm if data thieves sell it on the black market. There's something called phishing. Now we have covered this in another show. You have phishing and you have vishing. Vishing stands for voice scams, and phishing is more the internet part of things. So phishing emails to employees, because they are often a direct line into the company's computer systems, are a leading cause of data breaches, according to the United States Small Business Administration. Besides data breaches, you have employee issues. If it's bad enough if it discovers your workers or worse, your company's principals have broken the law. But if that fact goes public, it can seriously harm your company's reputation. So data breaches, employee issues, so dishonesty. The third element here is recalls and defective products. We've seen in the last few years, when you have a recall in the auto industry, for instance, and the industry has the companies that are concerned, they have to pay hundreds of millions of dollars or even billions of dollars in damages. That's huge. But at the local level, at a small business level, a recall or a defective breach can also cause similarly damaging impact to the company's bottom line and reputation. So you want your products and services to be excellent. If you have a recall, or if you receive bad publicity for faulty work, you have not only to fix the problem, which is one thing, but you also have to repair the damage to your reputation. I'm not even talking here about the potential legal ramifications of the issue here. This could cause you to spend even more money and damage your company's reputation even more. So you have also negative social media posts. So if you have a customer can post a negative or inaccurate review on a social media, such as Google or Yelp, and or an employee may write something embarrassing about your company. You also have workplace accidents. Stuff happens. So accidents can be particularly damaging if they involve OSHA citations or other evidence of safety issues. OSHA stands for Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and it is part of the United States Department of Labor, and you don't want to have any problem related to that, especially if you're a small business working in the construction industry, and you have injuries, on-site injuries, that could be very bad. I also want to talk about protective tools and processes. When we talk about reputational risk, there has to be an array of an arsenal of tools and mitigation strategies you can use to combat reputational risk from damaging your company. So let's just talk about that. Here are the protective tools and processes that you can use to stem the tide. If you have an adverse tide of reputational risk coming your way, you can actually stem it, you can actually stop it, you can actually halt it. There are a few things you can do. Identify potentially damaging events. You know your business pretty well. You know what can go wrong. You know that things can be very irretrievably negative for your company. So try to first identify the potentially damaging events. You want to have a list. You want to have a short list of things. And then you decide customer issue responses. Customers are customers. They will complain. They'll be happy sometimes. Sometimes they will complain. It's just how life goes. You can't do anything about it. But what you can do is that you have to think in advance about the responses you are going to give to customers. So for example, if a reviewer on social media has made false statements, for example, they said the health department's supposed bad grades, you should counteract with facts. You got to have facts. Even if that means you have to upload documents, you have to do it. You want to institute a clear social media policy. We know that social media can be a great tool for publicity, both positive and negative. So you want to specify who can access your firm's social media accounts, who can post content, and what message you want to convey when communicating about your company. Your social media policy should also rather describe how workers should behave on the internet, especially when they're acting on behalf of the company. If you have small problems within the company, please address them quickly. The small problems can become big issues if they're not resolved right away. Think about the fires that we have sometimes in California. I'm not picking on California. I have a lot of friends there, but those fires usually start very small, and before you know it, the whole city or part of the city is just being consumed and burned. So you want to really take care of that really, really quickly. A few cockroaches in a commercial kitchen can quickly become an infestation. If you have a complaint about a defective product, you just want to take care of it quickly, because if you let it grow, it could trigger a formal recall. Create a cybersecurity plan, folks. This is another thing I want to talk about today. The FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, has put on the internet a great resource called the Small Base Cyber Planner to help you create a customized security plan. You can even hire an expert to audit your business's potential risk and exposure, because nowadays the risk management we're talking about here has to cover the digital aspect of things, not just physical anymore. We live in a globalized era where the internet has asserted its preeminence in the global economy. So you want to take care of the internet and the electronic side. I'm talking here about securing everything that is sensitive on your network, website, and within your payment system, and cover things like address scams, fraud, and employee security, among other things. You also want to seek help from online reputation companies if you have the budget for it, because those companies can monitor for reputation damage. They can help you delete bad reviews, news stories, or social media posts, and they can even work to raise your online overall profile. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. I hope you are doing fantastic. We are still having a conversation today around small business reputational risk, what it is, why you must monitor it, and how to minimize it. If you love the content's clarity and quality so far, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you are aware whenever we drop a new show. And we do this kind of shows every single day, rain or shine. I want to talk now about insurance, something called insurance and reputational risk management. One of the tools that big companies and small institutions, for that matter, use to manage risk, especially reputational risk, is insurance. So you may be wondering if standard insurance policies protects your company and yourself against reputational damage. The answer is no, because general liability policies will cover your business against lawsuits. In other words, they will cover you when it is alleged that your company has hurt someone else. A liability policy will cover that third party's damages and your legal fees, but not the effect an incident has on your own business. Having said that, there is something called standalone reputational harm insurance. As of the date of this show, it's not really clear how available these are to small businesses. They are available to big companies out there, but not small businesses. At least we haven't seen that in our research. Small business owners may be able to cobble together limited protections through other forms of insurance, though many may find the cost of special policies very high. For example, research has shown that if you have a proper cyber liability policy, you can be covered against things like the fees charged by a public relations firm hired to help minimize negative publicity related to a data breach. Having said that, also you have the Insurance Information Institute and J.D. Power, who have released a study in 2019, and that was pretty interesting study, because in that study they found that 42% of small businesses said they didn't get such coverage because it was too expensive. So the scenario we're having here is that a lot of small businesses are just foregoing altogether this type of insurance because they realize it's prohibitively high, it's prohibitively expensive for them, and they just are thinking the scenario under which they might have a data breach is just so remote that the cost is not really necessary. It's not worth it. My the We have done a lot of research before the show, and we realized that overall, the best option here is if you cannot afford a standalone reputational harm insurance, try to couple together a couple of other insurance here and there, so that if stuff happens, you are overall covered. Let me talk now about internal policies for brand management. If you want to, brand management is inherently correlated to reputational risk. They go both ways. If you have a strong brand, your reputation is polished in the marketplace, and if you have a great reputation, the positive repercussions or the positive impact will be reflected on your brand. Now, so if you want to manage your reputation, your reputation risk in the long run, you want to take care of the brand management. And there are 6 key ways you can prevent and mitigate reputational risk and at the same time enhance your brand management. You want to protect yourself against data breaches. This we have covered it in other shows. The idea here is to set up an internal policy and processes and controls and procedures in place internally. That's internally, where you're able to protect the company against data breaches. This goes from securing the integrity of computers and servers to monitoring the access of sensitive data on the internet, including social media website. You want to be vigilant about customer service mishaps. Something happens, a customer is not happy, she's posting a negative review on the internet. You want to be very quick. You want to act quickly. You want to keep your employees happy so that you are able to prevent reputational risk. So there's nothing worse than a disgruntled ex-employee who goes on the internet and just spread negative information about the company, adverse information about the company. You want to make values truly operational. Whatever you believe in, whatever your mission statement is, whatever your vision statement is, try to make sure that you are incorporating those values in the day-to-day operations, in the company's culture, how people treat each other, what is valued, what is rewarded within the company. Be mindful also of ethical conduct. The conduct of employees, especially top employees, the leaders, the executive leaders, must be perfect. Nobody is perfect. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not trying to be quixotic here. I'm not trying to be idealistic. No, I'm not. But what I'm saying is that you need to, within the company, you need to instill a culture of ethical conduct, so people know, so staff members know what is appreciated and what is not. You also want to manage external reputational risks. What is external reputational risk? There are things you cannot control. For example, something happens in the industry. You happen to be in the auto industry, and there is a wave of negative publicity right now around the auto industry. What do? You have to adopt specific strategies that will maybe they have to do with your own company and not with the industry. So, for instance, you can actually show the competitive edge that you have. Maybe because you've been in business for 40 years or 30 years or 50 years, so that customers know that your company is a solid stone, is a solid rock to trust, even in difficult moments. So you want to highlight the importance of your company, even in difficult moments. All right, folks, this is it. This is today's conversation. This is the end of today's conversation. Really appreciated having a conversation with you. Please, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you'll receive new shows, new information about new shows every single day, rain or shine. And the recap is, I spoke about reputational risk, the damaging events, the protective tools and processes, insurance and reputational risk management, and internal policies for brand management. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.